Hi, Maxine and Ryan. Thank you so much for this very rich and meaningful documentary. I really enjoyed watching Panagmasa language in the craft. What stood out to me right away is your strong commitment to community-centered storytelling. The use of Ilocano paired with clear English subtitles allows the participants to speak naturally, and we really feel the sense of comfort and authenticity in the interviews. I also want to highlight the quality of your visuals and editing. The documentary is very polished, and the way scenes are framed and sequenced really supports the story you are telling. In this review, I will focus on two areas. First, strengthening the analytical layer of language documentation. And second, making the linguistic contribution more explicit for viewers. Now, for the first screenshot that I'm showing, I want to label it as the authentic language use. Here we can see how the participant is speaking in Ilocano while the subtitles guide the viewer. Now, this is really a strong choice because it allows the interviewees to be more relaxed and expressive, and it shows the natural relationship between the researchers and the community. This is something I would definitely encourage you to keep, especially it strengthens the authenticity of this documentary. Now, for this second slide, I want to highlight, I want to call it strong visuals and editing. Now, in this scene, we see the product and the process clearly, supported by clean visuals and smooth editing. Now, your visuals are top notch. They do a great job of showing how language is embedded in everyday labor. The pacing, composition, and transitions here really help the viewer stay engaged and understand the process. For this third slide, I am calling this terms are presented. Here we see a key moment where an Ilocano term is presented and translated. Now, this is very effective in terms of documentation because it captures the vocabulary and situates it in context. At the same time, this also points to a key opportunity. At this point, the term is introduced, but it is not fully analyzed or unpacked. For example, how does this term relate to other terms? Is it part of a larger system of vocabulary? What makes it distinct within this craft? One possible way to strengthen this is to add a short analytical layer where terms are grouped, for example, into ingredients, actions, or tools, and briefly explained in relation to each other. Even a short segment like this can significantly strengthen your linguistic contribution. Now, my fourth and last screenshot from the video, and I'm calling this multiple terms in action. Now, in this scene, we see multiple terms used together, connected to specific actions. This is actually a very rich moment because it shows that language is not isolated. It is part of a system of practices. This could be really a great place for to group the terms or highlight patterns. For example, verbs related to movement or process. You might consider briefly showing how these terms function together and what roles they play in the craft. This would help the audience see not just individual words, but the structure of the language within the practice. Oh, I remember. I must include right now that you might also consider briefly connecting these terms to other Ilocano practices or even to other Philippine languages. This can really help position your work within a broader discussion of language, identity, and variation. So overall, this is really a very strong and meaningful documentary. Your work succeeds in foregrounding authentic voices, documenting everyday linguistic practices. And in this term is more of a like a in food and the spirit um, of baking. So this documenting everyday linguistic practices and showing how language, labor, and culture are deeply interconnected. The use of Ilocano, the trust with the community, and the quality of your visuals are all major strengths. The main opportunity for amplification is really to add a layer of linguistic analysis, particularly grouping and classifying terms and making their relationships more explicit. With these additions, your documentary can move from being not just a record of language, but also a clear analytical contribution to language documentation in applied linguistics. So there. So thank you very much. Maraming salamat for this work. It is both academically valuable and culturally meaningful. And I really appreciate how you center the voices of the community. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you further develop this. Thank you so much and take care.